Okay, we'll get started. My name is Evan Steele. I'm the founder and CEO of a company called Raiderate. We're a reputation management and practice improvement through surveys company. Since we do reputation management, I've been eating, sleeping, drinking, thinking about Google for more years than I'd like to count. So as a result, I consider myself somewhat of an expert on the topic, and I'd like to just kind of download and convey some of my knowledge to you, and hopefully that could help your marketing efforts. You'll notice we set this up as a Zoom call rather than a webinar. I just like, seeing people's faces in the little boxes. So we chose to go with a regular format of a Zoom call. And if you have any questions, just feel free to hit the chat. In the meantime, everybody should mute themselves, or maybe Aaron, you could just mute everybody but me. And if you have a question, you could do the chat, or even just unmute yourself and break in and ask a question. But we will have a time at the end for some Q&A. But again, feel free to use that chat button. I'm here in northern New Jersey, right in the New York metropolitan area. It's just a commuting suburb. So I apologize in advance for the accent. I grew up on Long Island. But anyway, we'll get going, and again, feel free to ask any questions along the way. So the idea is we want to, Google is a powerful search tool, and we want to drive patients to your practice by using Google, and especially getting your patients to find both your practice and your providers online. I'm not one for a bunch of stats. You get these webinars. There's a million articles out there. Just know that a high percentage of patients, when searching for care, will go search online. It's just what we do now, and especially now in the COVID and post. I'm hopefully declaring it the post-COVID era. There's been a lot of movement, a lot of people moving from city to city, and a lot of people displaced and looking for new doctors, new healthcare. So you have a young couple with a kid and they need orthopedic care or a pediatrician. They're just doing Google searches left and right looking for that care. So, how do you, the whole idea is, how do you ensure a no-brainer ROI? Typically, if you can get one new patient in a year, you take your lifetime value of a patient coming through your doors. It depends on the specialty. If it's primary care or specialty, but anywhere from $750 to $1,250 is the present value of a lifetime value of a patient. So call it $1,000 a patient. So if you could get one patient a year in through the doors versus, if you perfect your Google listing, then you've paid for it's paid for itself, right? You invest like $1,000 a year, per doctor in a online reputation management system, and you get much more than one patient a year. So this is what we're looking for. It's kind of like a website. If you didn't have a website, you'd be losing patients, right? You built the website, you spent the money, and you get a lot more patients because of that versus your competitor. So the first step is to make we're going to talk about branding and doctors and different kinds of Google searches. But the first is a branding search, how to make your brand sparkle. Okay, so we start off with Google, your Google listing. We look at it as your new homepage. When I search for a practice, your brand, and everybody on this phone is investing a lot of money in their brand, right? I do print ads, I have billboards, I sponsor the sports team, the local sports team, so we have a sign at the stadium. We do radio spots, we have banners all over the place. You guys are advertising, you're spending all this money, so people recognize you. So if I'm in Raleigh and I hurt my shoulder, I'm going to search for orthopedic doctor. I'm going to search for Raleigh Orthopedic Clinic because I saw their billboard. And this is what patients see on the Google search, right? 2,500 reviews, 4.9 stars. So we want to make this look as good as possible and make it as complete as possible. Surprisingly, if you did the numbers and ran the numbers, if you compared your medical practice's website, your homepage, the location page, and the physician bio pages, right? Those are really the 3 key pages where most patients visit. And I know you have a lot of other pages with articles and blogs, contact us page, but really those are the core information pages for the patients. You will find, and we've ran these analyses, the number of eyes that look at this, the Google listing, is anywhere from 5 to 10 times more than your website's homepage, location pages, and bio pages. So that number surprises people, but these are 5 to 10 times more popular or visible, right, than your homepage, than your website. And also, more eyes are looking at this than, let's say, the billboard or the ad in a newspaper or listening to a radio spot. So let's look at that brand search. Someone searching for Raleigh Orthopedic Clinic. And this is what comes up. Now, Google's really good. They're trying to get your patients not to see your homepage, right? So first we have this nice, you search Raleigh Orthopedic, so they have a very nice online image here, right? Thousands of reviews, 4.9 stars. Notice what Google does. There's no way to control this, by the way, but Google's smart enough to know that patients looking for medical care, medical clinics and medical practices, they're very interested in the providers and the locations and the contact us and maybe one other thing here. So Google puts these subsections, and you can test this out on your own website. So think about it. I don't know it's Raleigh Ortho. I just know Raleigh Orthopedic Clinic. So I searched Raleigh Orthopedic Clinic. Oh, let me go to the providers. Click. I just skipped over the homepage. Or where are they located? They have an office near me. Click. Skipped over the homepage. So a lot of times Google's making it so that this is the homepage, right? It's a profile of your practice with a picture, and almost like your nav bar on your website. This is your homepage. And again, these listings get more views, 5 to 10 times more views than your actual website, the key pages on your website. So that's just a different way of thinking. Like, this is my new homepage. This is the first impression. Everyone thinks it's their website's homepage is the first impression. This is the first impression the patients see online. And then just, you guys are mostly independent practices, at least I think. The large health systems are terrible at building their online reputations. Absolutely terrible. They're like, Byzantine bureaucracies, and they're just not focused on building their reputations, right? They spend money on these big hospitals and big buildings and the billboards and, radio ads, print ads, but they typically don't spend a lot of money on, they spend a lot of money on their brand, but not on their online presence. So let's say someone's heard of Duke Urology. Just type that in, 2.6 stars, 8 reviews. Like, oh, right? Like, there's no way. Like, I would never eat at a restaurant that got 2.6 stars. You're thinking like automatic food poisoning. And I wouldn't want to go to this urology clinic, especially if, there's another like Raleigh Urology, looked like something like this, right? And this is very unfortunate, right? But it's very easy to fix, and it's something that you guys could easily rectify. So, again, spending a lot of money to get a brand in everybody's head, and then the second they search it, this is what they see. It's just kind of like anticlimactic. Like, why spend all your money on branding if this is the first thing a patient's going to see when they sit down in front of the computer? And by the way, on mobile, this listing takes up the whole first screen. It's not even on the right side or below. This is all the patient sees when they search. Not a good look. So again, easy to fix. So the second thing is, that's your brand. We want your brand to sparkle. We want to make your doctors look great. So this is the second kind of search, right? How to make the doctors look great, not only on Google, but across all review sites. So let's talk about patient thought process. So I'm a patient, I'm new in town, or I've been in town for a long time, and I've been relatively healthy, like myself, my whole life, but all of a sudden I was playing pickleball or tennis. Just started playing pickleball. If anyone hasn't done it, you should definitely do it. It's awesome. I hurt my shoulder. I need a doctor. So I call my PCP. I ask my friends for some names. I ask my family members. I go to my Facebook groups. A lot of people do that. There's a lot of, like my wife belongs to the Bergen County Mommies group. Give me a good doctor who could take care of my shoulder. People go on your Cigna.com and they look at the provider directories to see who's in network. So what happens is patients now are looking for care. If the PP, sometimes the PCP says, just go to this person, that's our go-to, and so they do that. But typically, more and more, people have a list of names, and then I'm going to go Google search the doctor. So here I'm going to search for, I got Tyler Brolin. This is actually a client of ours in Memphis. I type his name. Immediately, I see his nice profile. Very nice picture. He's a handsome doctor. He's got a nice profile picture. 176 reviews, 4.9 stars. I see, on CamelClinic.com on his bio page, he has 360 reviews and 4.9 stars. I see US News and Health Grades, 4.8. Like, there's no red flags here. If someone gave me this name, I'm thinking like, a lot of times you'll see 3.2 stars on Health Grades. Well, why is that? Let me read patients look for the worst information sometimes, right? So let me check out that. But everything's clean, left, right side. This is a great profile. If a patient has this doctor's name on their list from any of these sources we just spoke about, they're going to click on his bio link and jump right to the bio page. Again, missing the home page, going right to the bio page of this doctor. Or might even go to CamelClinic.com by clicking on the website. So that's the example of a great patient search. Let's take the opposite. Remember, we saw Tyler Brolin. Imagine if I'm looking for, someone gave me the name Mark Turner. So I look him up, I see a picture of a lab vehicle, a building. It's not even spring, it's just winter, so the trees are bare. And he has 4.2 stars and 10 reviews. Like, I'm not gonna call it. There's no way. Like, why take a chance, right? Even though 4.2 is not bad, this guy looks stellar. So the key is the images. People are very image focused. So we want to have a really nice profile picture. And we actually have tips and guides on our website, Rater8.com's website, in the blog section on how to upload the right size picture. They want high resolution pictures. So you want to use a headshot. Certain dimensions work better because Google won't always guarantee the photo will be put here. So there's some strategies. You want a photo and you want obviously a very nice online reputation. So if these were two competing doctors from competing practices, I'm going to see Tyler Brolin. I just would. I would never go see this doctor because I'm not sure if people like him. I'm sure people love this doctor. So once they, just go back, once they click on the bio page, then they're going to jump to the bio page, right? So now you got a patient right where you want them, on the doctor's bio page. So now you're in your ecosystem. You got them on your website, and it's nice to see. I just showed this one. I love this layout. This is one of the most simple, cleanest bio pages that I've seen. So it has the doctor's picture, where the doctor trained, but we have, this is Rater8's widget. We give them a widget, but it has testimonials that are automatically generated and posted. What we happen to do is put anything that's 5-star rated, has a high sentiment score value, and also is 100 characters or more. Like great doc, that's not testimonial grade. That's like 10 letters. These are all long. They're a good read, and it's right on the bio page. So remember, who should I use? Should I use Julie Nam? Search for her, high reviews. I'm on the bio page. I'm reading testimonials. This is a badge where I could read 432 comments. I click there, and it pops me there. So now I have more information. Right now, nothing's gotten in the way of me making an appointment with a doctor, right? Great online reputation, great bio page. I'm making the appointment, right? And you want that perfection. You want the whole patient search experience to be perfect. So the last thing, and probably one of the more important ones, is the third type of search, right? So we did the practice search. We did the brand search. We did the doctor search. Now we're doing the best near me. The technical term is Google local search, like Italian restaurant near me, local search, but I like to call it best near me searches. You'll see patients all the time. Best hip surgeon near me. I want a vasectomy. Best vasectomy doctor near me. Best eye doctor, right? Best family practitioner, best pediatrician. They're constantly typing these things into Google. And the idea is that when you do that, Google has something called a 3-pack. They're going to give 3 results. Let's go to the next page here. They're going to give you 3 results, right? If you type best urologist near, I did Durham, North Carolina, because I'm not in Durham, but if you do near me and I'm sitting in Durham, you'll get these results. And this is called the 3-pack. And Google is making recommendations. They're promoting listings. So the question is, with all the competition and all the doctors, it's a mix of practices and doctors, how do we get your practice and doctor listings here? How do we dominate this search here so that you win those patients, and that, there's more places you could click more and see other listings, but if there's good listings here, that's it. It's like the second page of Google. No one's going to go to the second page if they find what they want on the first page. So you want to be firmly entrenched on these searches. So how do we do that? By the way, this is one of our clients, Triangle Urology. See the 205 Fraser Street. So this is a doctor and the practice. They're both showing up with great reviews. And this is from Duke Medicine. So this is 5 stars, but only 6 reviews. So again, beating the big guys, right? The Duke is not focusing on this doctor's reputation, only 6 reviews. I'm going to choose Dr. Huang or Triangle Urology. Click on the website, and now Google just helped me out in choosing a doctor. Notice when I do best, not all the time, but in this case, Google a good number of times, maybe the majority of times, when you do a best search, shows a 4-star or higher only. So if your practice or doctor has a 3.8 or 6 or 2, never going to show up if Google is doing this 4 stars or higher. So, you want to maximize your chance of getting on here, but oftentimes just having a 4-star or higher is one of the is an easy thing to do, but it's one of their main criteria. Also, you notice, why did they pick Triangle and Samuel? Because one of the reasons is you'll notice that Google is searching and cataloging all the comments. So there's 300 reviews here, and there's a comment that says highly recommend best urologist. That matches the best search term. Dr. Huang is the best, so Google sees that. This one doesn't show that, but you could see having lots of reviews with lots of comments means that a match is more likely to occur. And you could try it, like let's say you're an orthopedic practice, you could try it by you, say best knee replacement doctor near me. You will see a lot of those comments, a lot of those listings that have patients who happen to mention, oh, I went to this doctor, I had a knee replacement, things are great. Google sees that, and they're more likely to promote it. So the more reviews, the more comments, the more keyword matches you're going to have with a search. So that's also an important factor, getting lots of comments. So again, just to summarize, I'm a new patient in the area. I type best urologist. I'm going to choose one of these two, and they've done a good job in their best near me search SEO. So there's more. So this is kind of a scorecard. We put these together this is from a screenshot from in our software. This is not a client of ours. We just take a large health system in the New York metro area and put some doctors in just to show it for demo purposes. So this is all public information. This is just all these doctors' Google listings. By the way, anyone on the phone, if you want one of these scorecards, we'll gladly do it for you. We'll tell you how to do it at the end, and we'll create a whole scorecard for you for all your doctors and locations, and see what's going on with all your listings. So let's see what Google's thinking about. How to promote. Remember that you want your listings promoted by Google. So Google looks at the rating, the number of reviews, and recency. Those are very important factors, right? Higher ratings, higher number of reviews, more likely to be promoted. This listing, the last review was 762 days ago, 2 years ago, less likely to be promoted. Plus, if a patient gets onto that listing and starts reading about the doctor and sees the last review was 2 years ago, the patient's thinking, is this doctor even practicing medicine anymore? Or does he see a lot of patients? Does this doctor see a lot of patients? So no one's put a review for 2 years. So the recency becomes important as well. Also, this whole right side, these are all the elements of a listing. Notice on a listing, there's an appointment link, there's office hours, a website link. Listing owned is important. Google will promote listings that are owned and claimed over listings that aren't. So you can see for this hospital, they own their listings, but they're missing office hours. And some of these are missing appointment links. And then there's an opportunity to have 750 character short bio in your Google listing. And that's also very valuable. So you want to make sure that your listings are complete. And again, Google will give you preference to complete listings. Just, it just makes common sense. They want businesses or medical practices to embrace their ecosystem, and their Google Maps, Google listings is so important to their business, to Google's business, that they encourage complete listings. So we could give you a scorecard and see where each one of your, it's an automatic process that we have that just pulls in all this information. And then you could see any areas where you might want to fix up your listings without having to go through each one and clicking and trying to figure out what might be missing. Also, they did a good job with the category. I can't tell you how many times you see just doctor. A lot of times listings are created years ago by patients and they just put a doctor. So if the category is just doctor and a patient searches for orthopedic surgeon near me or a physiatrist near me, 0% chance you're going to come up in that best near me search, right? Because Google doesn't even know that doctor is an orthopedic surgeon or a physiatrist because they're just categorized as doctor. And that's this, by the way, the urologist, right? I search for urologist. So if it just said doctor, if Samuel Huang was a doctor, he wouldn't come up in this search. That's kind of some low-hanging fruit, right? Is this category you want to make sure you get. That's, I think, one of the most important things. Okay. And then there's a different kind of scorecard. This looks at your online reviews across all the major review sites: Google, Healthgrades, Vitals, WebMD. We look for, if it's pink, it's below 4 stars, and if there's less than 30 reviews, we make it red, less than 30. So you can see that there's a lot of holes here that need to be fixed. Now we talk about Google, but don't forget what Google does is Google scrapes in regular intervals the Healthgrades, Vitals, and WebMD listings. Okay. This practice, we didn't set up their WebMD links, so we're not showing that. But the Healthgrades and the Vitals and the WebMD is important. So Google's pulling that in. They're reading that, and it goes into their algorithms. If they see a lot of positive reviews with Healthgrades and Vitals, that's going to help you. So it's not as important as Google to have a lot of reviews, but it is important. And it's also a red flag, right? So if I search for this doctor, I see a 4-point-star review for Google, I'm happy, but I might look on the left side of my search results and see only 3.4 stars with Healthgrades. Something's wrong. Let me look at the next doctor on my list. And just human nature, this doctor here, 4.7, 4.0, 4.5, lots of reviews, all 3 sites. I'm going to be immediately more comfortable with this doctor. So building up Healthgrades, Vitals, and WebMD is important not only for that look, the overall polished look of the online image from a patient's perspective, but also from a Google promoting the listing perspective that you want to do that. And by the way, what Rater8 does is we have algorithms that just kind of find where all the reds are. So when we redirect patients automatically, like we'll redirect this patient certainly to Google, definitely to Healthgrades, probably not to Vitals, because they don't need a review on Vitals right now. This doctor needs reviews on Healthgrades. So you want to have some sort of smart intelligence on where you're sending patients. You don't want this patient to do Vitals, you want them to do Healthgrades, more so than Vitals. Okay, I see no questions so far. So if you want a scorecard, you could just, we're going to email you after this, we'll email you the presentation and a little link. You could sign up on the website and just type your name, practice in, and we'll prepare the scorecard for you. And it just takes 10 minutes to kind of review where you are in the world on the reputation management front. So if you want to spare 10 minutes, we're happy to do that. So other strategies, so that's not it. I mean, Google search SEO and Google search algorithms are very, very complex. There's a lot of variables, and there's just a few more items that are also important. You want to respond to your reviews, right? So a patient says, great service, I love this doctor, respond. Thank you for the positive feedback. It only takes less than a minute. But Google, and they have articles, and Google will say, the bottom line is that businesses that are engaged with their customers, or in our case, patients, are looked upon highly by Google. They like when businesses engage with patients. So responding is going to put you up in their algorithms and more likely to come up in those search results. So definitely respond. And also patients, when you respond, patients get an email that you respond. So it's a little adrenaline, a little ping, or what is it? serotonin, a little ping to the patient saying you appreciate their feedback, or if they're unhappy that, you might say, I'm sorry you feel that way. Here's a number of the office manager. Please give us a call. That's also great for patient relations. So there's a lot of advantages to responding to your reviews. Name, address, phone number matching. Very interesting. This is a million articles about this online, but you want the name and address and the phone number on your Google Maps listing, which is your Google listing, to match identically to the name and address phone number on your website. So if you have a location page for your Uptown office and it's 1563 Main Street, Suite 101, your Google listing, you want to make sure it says Suite 101, not STE number 101, right? Right? Or so you want those name and if the phone numbers are different, you want to make exactly the same, right? And then Google makes a neural link between your listing and that page on your website by matching up that name, address, phone number. Also, the third bullet, also a corollary to this is your doctor bio pages. So your doctor's name. So if a doctor is E. Charles Smith, right, on your bio page, but his listing it's Edward C. Smith, right? That's a name, address, phone. That's a name mismatch, and Google will get confused. So you want to make sure that the doctor's name is exactly spelled the same as the Google listing. And furthermore, I see all the time, most practices have separate bio pages and separate location pages for each location and each doctor. But sometimes I see 4 locations all on one web page, 4 little squares, or all the doctors are just scroll down and you have listed all the doctors. You don't want that. That's bad for SEO, and it doesn't let Google make those neural links between the bios and the locations and the listing. So just remember, call your web company, say I need separate doctor pages and separate location pages. The final thing is, and this is people scratch their head at this one. Think about this. If you have a doctor, and almost everyone on the line today, everyone on the webinar today, the doctors see patients at multiple offices. So if you have an Uptown, a main office and a satellite office, that satellite office location should have, if the doctor sees patients there, that doctor should have her own Google listing for the satellite office. And you say, but why would I do that? That's just a lot of work. Well, think about it. Let's say I'll take Raleigh. So you have an office in Raleigh and one in Garner. Garner is like a half hour south of Raleigh. So that would be a satellite office. If a patient is sitting in Garner and I say best orthopedic surgeon near me or best whatever doctor near me, if Dr. Mary Smith doesn't have a listing in that area, they'll never show it. That doctor will never show up in the near me search. And remember, in the best near me search. And remember, earlier we were talking about dominating the 3-pack, that Google 3-pack, right? So they're dominating Google's suggestions, the 3 practices and names listings that they promote. The less listings you have in that area, the less chance you're going to show up. So it's so important to have lots of listings in each office location so you could dominate those search results. And you will if you have lots of listings and you build up the reviews and the listings are in good shape and you're responding to your reviews and you're just doing everything that you need to do. Google's going to be promoting your practice much more over your competitors. Also, one last thing, one nuance. If a patient gets a list of doctors, and now I'm in Garner, and I get a list of doctors, and I say, oh, here's Mary Smith. I'm in Garner, and I search Mary Smith, and she doesn't have a Google listing. She only has a listing in Raleigh, and her Raleigh listing pops up, and I'm in Garner. I'm saying, oh, Mary Smith is not in Garner. I don't want to drive all the way to Raleigh in rush hour for, and deal with that whole drive. Let me look for another doctor who has an office in Garner. But if I'm sitting in Garner and Mary Smith has a Google listing in Garner and I search for Dr. Mary Smith, that listing is going to pop right up and the patient's going to be, oh, Mary Smith is right here in Garner. I can make an appointment with her. So there's lots of great reasons to have listings for each doctor for each location at which they practice. Extra work, but very worth it. There's a great article you could read, kind of summarizes much shorter a lot of what I've just gone over. Just just Google this: how to improve your local ranking on Google. It's the first article. It's a short article, and it reinforces. It's from Google, so it's from the horse's mouth. And you'll find there's a lot of great stuff to read in there that kind of mirrors what I'm saying here. A little less nuanced, but that mirrors what we're saying.
Are there questions for Evan? This has been, it's a great group, and it looks like a really good cross section of folks from different states. I'm really glad to see everyone here today.
Hey, Evan, this is Lorraine. I work at a GI practice in Virginia. And as far as negative reviews go, I know we can't delete them off of Google. In my own research, I found the best way is to just try to campaign for more positive reviews to squash the negative ones down. Is that the best option still?
Yeah, it's like dealing with City Hall, dealing with Google. It's virtually impossible to, unless there's racist overtones or some cursing, Google's will not remove the review. In fact, we do studies. We look at all Google reviews, and we see there's very little, like the word racist will hardly ever show up, because they clean that up. They won't even accept that. They'll nip it in the bud. So to appeal a review and have Google remove it is near impossible. So yes. So we find when you turn on reputation management, the mentality of a patient is I'm really peeved. I'm going to go home and I'm going to trash the practice. So you'll see oftentimes a lot of practices have, and we'll share with you with your scorecard, the percent of reviews that you have that are 1 star. And we see 20, 30, 40%. What's happening is you go to your gastro doctor, he checks you out, you do colonoscopy, or you have, some irritable bowel, IBS, and the doctor checks you out, he gives you a prescription, you're 5-star happy, right? You love the doctor, you love the practice, but you're not going home putting a review on Google, right? It's only if you're really upset. But if it's really easy, like you get an email or a text within 5 minutes of your visit, and it's like 1 click, and now I could post a review on Google, a patient will say, yeah, I'll give 5 stars. It's just 1 or 2 clicks, it's easy. So what happens is, you're exactly right, Lorraine, is you want to dwarf or drown out or smother those 1-star reviews with easy to get 5-star reviews. And you'll find that the number of 1-star reviews stays pretty much the same, but the overall percent goes from 30% 1-star reviews down to low single digits, like 1, 2, 3%. And from a patient's perspective, that's obviously much more attractive to see all those positive reviews. Yes, Jennifer, you could ask questions, chat as well. Or you could just pipe in and unmute yourself, either way. Did that answer your question, Lorraine?
Yes, it did. Thank you.
I'll wait for Jennifer to type her question. Anyone else have a question?
Hi, my name is Deidre. I am in a primary care practice in Virginia. And my question is, you had said to stay in contact with the patients if they like the responses, but we were always advised not to either confirm or deny that they were our patients, because that would be a HIPAA violation.
Correct. So there's a lot of articles on this. And look, the biggest hospitals, people respond all throughout healthcare. What you want to try to do, the best practice is not to convey to the patient that they were there. So just be real careful. So just say, thank you for your feedback. We appreciate it. Sorry you had a bad experience. Here's our office manager's phone number. Please send us please give us a call. What you don't want to say is, and I see it all the time, Google shows the name of the patient. So it says Mary Smith. Mary, I'm so sorry for your bad knee replacement surgery outcome. Give us a call. You don't want to do that, because that's then kind of admitting and saying that the patient, they came there. But just, you could be general, very general, and just not mention the patient's name and not mention any indications that they were there, just thanking them or saying, if you're upset, call us. And then you're adhering to best practices, and it's that would not in that case be a HIPAA violation.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. So the question is from Jennifer. Besides sending text messages, emails, what are other ways to encourage patients to leave reviews? Good question. Great question. So we always look at response rates, like our software has response rates by office location. So you can see which locations are doing a better job at promoting having patients post reviews. One thing I will say, we see consistent throughout the country, if you have multiple offices or if you're in a low income demographic area, response rates are much lower. I don't know why, just the way the numbers fall out. Also, pediatric practices. You think young parents would be very technically savvy and they would be responding, but the response rates tend to be lower for those patients because I think, parents are just super busy, right? They brought the kids to the pediatrician and now they got to go home and go to the soccer game and this and that. And it's like, no one's busier than a parent with kids, right? It's like a full-time job. Plus they might even have a full-time job on top of that. So those response rates are lower. But what you could do is just make it part of your process as patients check out, just like you get the copay, you give them a receipt, you say, hey, you might see something from Ratorade online. Some people will have stickers that say, we actually have these designed already, and we send them to the practices. They could print them off. Like a little sticker you could put on the treatment plan or the super bill or whatever you give to the patient that says, hey, Ratorade survey coming your way. Some people put up signs. We also have these signs you could put up on an easel or just a checkout that says, you'll get a survey, a Ratorade survey coming up soon. You could do things like that, and that'll increase participation. Just personally at our company, our average response rate is 26% across the country. We've sent out, I think, 13 million surveys to date. So, anytime you could get a response rate, one in four of your patients engaging somehow with you, either doing a survey and answering questions, or a smaller percent will actually put an online review, but that high engagement is pretty good. But yeah, there are other things you could do like we described that'll increase your percentages marginally.
Evan, this is Erin. As a parent of many children still, I have just had this experience myself. The signs, low-tech signs in the exam room help me because I'm sitting there with the kids, usually on my phone while they're on their phones. And I just did this in the dentist office the other day, but they had a really bright colored sign, laminated. It was extremely high color, low tech. And I said, oh, I can do this right now while I'm sitting here. And it was a good, it was a great experience. And I went and did it super quick on my phone. But it was a 3 minutes of downtime while, we were waiting for the dentist to come in to do his thing. And I thought of you, and I thought of this webinar at the time, and I said, this is probably not the high tech text or whatever after the fact, but that sign triggered me to go in and do the survey right then and there.
Yeah. Everything, it's all about the numbers, right? Like big data, big numbers. So a lot of your MGMA practices actually got quite large, but you're seeing thousands or tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of patients a year. So anytime you could do something that ups your percent by 1 or 2%, that ends up being significant at the end of the year. That ends up, might be another 100 reviews, right? So yeah, every little thing you could do, it's harmless, it's easy, ups your numbers, again, marginally, right? You're not going to go from 25 to 50%, but you might go from 25 to 28 or 30. And that.
I want to thank Evan and Ratorade for joining us today. Thank you very much. And thank you all for your participation. The program has been sponsored by the Pennsylvania MGMA, the West Virginia MGMA, and the Virginia MGMA. I thank you all very much. I hope you all can stay cool. It's very hot here where we are, and we will see you again in July for another program. Thank you for joining us, and thank Evan. Thank you very much. It was great working with you, and we will see you all again next month.